These are the tools you need to rebuild the recoil on the Chrysler SnowRunner. We have disposable gloves, needle nose pliers, lighter, Phillips screwdriver, big flat blade screwdriver, a small flat blade screwdriver, scissors, grease, tape measure, gloves, and goggles or protective eyewear to protect your eyes from the spring. These are the parts you're going to need. It's a recoil spring, premium starter rope, which is a diamond braid nylon starter rope, a number 5.5 or 11/64 inch diameter. Today we're going to be working on a Chrysler SnowRunner recoil. It's a Fairbank Morris. It's the only recoil that was ever installed on the SnowRunners from 79 through 81 or 82. And this one here is actually a brand new starter that's never been used, but it won't retract. That means that the spring is broken. And so we're going to be taking it apart and trying to rebuild it. So you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. You got to take and loosen that center screw. Now you're going to take and pull the screw out. There's a spring there, a special spring. Looks like a tornado. Pull that out. Remember how it went in there. The bigger circle part when you reinstall it is going to have to be toward the top, and the smaller part is going to be toward the recoil. If it's in there backwards, sometimes they don't work as well. This is the friction shoe assembly. It's got 2 springs on it, and sometimes those will fall off or you'll lose one. You may be able to find something similar at a hardware store if you look, or cut a spring down that can work. We don't have the parts for these anymore, so we can't sell you another one of these. And then in here there's a washer that's very important. If you don't have that, it will mess it up. It won't work properly without it. Now you need to wear some safety glasses. These springs are very dangerous. They can, when we pull this apart, there's a recoil spring in there, one of these, and these can fly out and hit you, and they can take out your eye, they can cut your hand. So you got to be really careful when you take these apart, because sometimes they just go flying. A lot of times you try to get it to where there's you can feel like there's no tension on it. You let it unwind or whatever till there's no tension, and then you take and you slowly pull it up. So we were able to pull it up without grabbing the spring. You can see here on this is the rotor, that's where that spring hooks onto. And then you can see the problem with this spring is right here. It's broken. Notice also that this inner part here that grabs the spring right here, it's grabbing the outer part of the spring, the direction that it's grabbing. It's grabbing it in that direction, not this direction. Because the recoil, when you have it against the SnowRunner, it has to spin counterclockwise. So we're going counterclockwise in order to turn the SnowRunner over. If you rebuild these in the wrong way, or somebody else has rebuilt them in the wrong way, where they're actually turning clockwise, because you can make them go clockwise, then you're turning the engine over the wrong direction. The SnowRunner will never run. So now we need to get that old spring out of there. So what I normally do is I hold my finger on it here, and then I pick this up and slowly let some of it come out. This one here, the rope is still good. We're going to keep the rope and reuse it. Alright, we have another recoil here. Since I'm not replacing the rope on this one, I'm going to show you this other one. We already pulled the parts out of it. Right here's a notch. If you look, there's a notch right here. This is there for a reason. It's to put the rope in there, and that way you can unwind the recoil. So if you have a problem with a broken rope like this and it doesn't want to go back on its own, okay, now the tension's off of it, the rope's up in that notch, so now you take and you pull it apart. We're going to use a needle nose plier, try to pull the knot up, pull it up through there like that. The rope length should be around 53 inches for the new rope. The end of it needs to be heated up with a lighter and then rotated. It's easier to push in the hole when you do this. Make sure you got gloves on, or otherwise you're going to burn your hands on the plastic, because the plastic will get you. It'll want to like melt to your hand. And all you do is there's a hole down through the center there. You just slide it down through the hole. It goes all the way through to the other side. Pull it through. And then on the end of the rope here again, you're going to have to put a knot. So you turn it over like that. You put a knot in it. You want this to stick out just a little bit. And then you want to pull on the knot like this. And get her good and tight. You still have a little bit of rope sticking off. So now we need to do the melting of that. We're going to push it down against the knot. So we're going to take and shove it down so that way it kind of holds itself and so that the knot can't pull out. We flattened it out. So now we're going to take and we're going to pull that in there. I'm going to get it a little bit crooked in there so it can go in there, push it in with your finger, and then pull on it. Slide the other end again back through there. You pull it through. Like that. So now that rope's ready. Now we're going to go back to our first recoil. So when you purchase these from us, they come in this cage that holds it all sprung. You got to be very careful, because if you just drop it, it'll spring out, and then you got to do it by hand. So you're going to have to hook it in there again. Got to get that corner in there. Hold that down. And then you've got to bend it just a little bit to the right. You got to be very careful, holding it down really tight right here with my finger. So it's grabbing. And then you've got to take and push her in like that. And you grab a screwdriver. Make sure that it's in there all the way. Make sure that the edges are in. And then you let it unwind itself. And you remove that. This gets discarded. And your spring is installed. Again, it's hooked here and it's going clockwise, the spring itself. That way it can wind up for counterclockwise work. And if you notice too that this hook on the end of the spring, the way it's kind of touching almost there, that's the way it's supposed to be. And because the hook is right there, and this is where the hook's going to grab, we're going to line this up kind of so that when we flip this over, it'll be ready to hook almost right on that. So normally we install a little bit of grease on the center post. So you just put a little dab of grease with a pair of gloves. Just a tiny bit. Just rub it on there a little bit, not too much. Now we're ready again to install this. Again, we're going to line this up so that the hook is real close. We're just going to flip it over. This rope ideally needs to go over and get in its notch. Hook it in its notch like this, and then you pull the rope across the center like this. Okay, that way it's in the notch, that way this thing can spin freely, and you try to just move it around until it's in there. I can feel that it grabbed, so it's down now, it's flush here, we're flush here, so it's all the way down, and I can feel that it's grabbing the spring and wants to pull it back. Okay, so now we're going to install the friction shoe assembly. So the first thing that needs to go on here is this little washer again. It's going to go down in there, it'll be flush across there. And then we need to install the grab dogs, the recoil friction shoe assembly. Now if you notice on this, there's an angle on the end of the lever, the arm here, and it's pointing that direction. So you want it facing clockwise, so it's pointing toward clockwise. So this is the way to install it. If you install it the other way, it will not work. It will not grab the recoil cup. Now we got to install the spring. Again, there's a certain way that this goes. The small part, the round small part goes over the top of that, and then the big part faces the screw that's going to be on the top, just like that. Tighten it pretty firm. You don't want to do it too much where it's going to strip it. Okay, now we've got that installed. We have the handle on the other end. We can have it just loose like this. Because of this notch here, now we can wind up the recoil. So normally, let's start out with 4 turns. Go around once. You try to always hold the rope toward the center like this. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see how that works. So now what we do is we just pull the rope out. Okay, let's see if it recoils all the way. It did, but it's a little flimsy here. Okay, so that's no problem. So what we do is we pull it out about 1.5 feet until we reach that notch again. Now we pull a loop in it again, and we put it on that notch again. Okay, so now we've got the rope here like that. We turn it one more turn clockwise. That one, the rope's got a little jammed. Let's see if we can force it around. Okay. So now we gave it one more turn, so we're tightening up the spring one more turn. So now we pull the loop out again, and then we see now it's pulling in good. I think that's it. I think we covered pretty much everything. You can go to snowrunner.com, no W, and buy these parts. We do not have these parts, these center parts anymore. For right now, for the next year or so, we still have some brand new recoils that we can sell you. But we're starting to run low on supply on those too. Thank you.